Good evening. It's Thursday, the 16th of July at 6 p.m. here in the UK. As you can see, I'm on my own this evening, and there's a topic I've listed as writing and then for, in brackets, magazines. So FOR magazines. And what I meant by that was writing for magazines and writing magazines. So that my question in the blurb was, do you buy writing related magazines? If so, paper and or online. Are they instructional, informative, for instance, writing magazine, Mslexia, etc., or purely for reading? People's Friend for short stories, Take a Break, Women's Weekly, etc., etc. My Weekly is another one. Have they helped launch your writing career? Do you write for magazines? If so, what genre? For your own country and or in other countries. Now here in the UK, obviously we speak English, as do a lot of other countries. So America, India, one of their main languages is English, very big English speaking country. Obviously Australia, Europe we're very lucky, have such a handle on the English language. So a lot of people like reading in English or can read in English or prefer to read in English. So we're very lucky in the fact that magazines could go pretty much anywhere. So this is why I ask about countries. So if you write for magazines, how did you start? How do you find new opportunities? How much do they pay? Do they pay? Do you get paid on acceptance or publication? Now, I came to writing in 2005, and back then we had a lot of opportunities in print. So that's, I've just mentioned some. My Weekly, Women's Weekly, Chat, Bella, Best, Prima, it's another one. I think they now just run a competition. Good Housekeeping's one in there. They tend to be commissioned, so they'll invite an author to write a story, so usually a novelist, and invite them to write a story for which they get paid. So the advent of the internet more globally and more prolifically, there are now so many sites online magazines, and so on and so forth. So lots of opportunities. I mentioned in the writing competitions on Tuesday, well now Thursday, that I mentioned Duotrope, which is DUOTROPE.com, and I subscribe to that for about 50 something dollars, nearly £50, and get every Sunday morning, so I guess late Saturday, depending on where you are, late Saturday, late Sunday, I get a list of new opportunities and agents that are open, agents that are closed, and so on and so forth. So a wonderful resource. So if you're looking to submit anywhere, I do recommend duotrope.com. And so they have a list of paying and non-paying markets and so on and so forth. So non-paying is a good way to cut your teeth. Ironic, because I've just been to the dentist. So I did think I might be late, but only a couple of minutes. And so there used to be really good paying markets. There are still paying markets. They don't pay a lot. Some obviously better than others, but it depends on how they get the money. So some do it for the love of it. Some charge a fee, which I'm not overly keen on. That's more like a competition. You charge a fee, win a prize. So I don't like these places that charge a reading fee, and you may or may not get your story in print, which I think is rather unfair. If you want to build up your CV, then free places that don't pay, for instance, if they don't charge people, if you just then get published on their website, they're not going to necessarily make the money to pay you. But it's good on your CV to say that you've been published in this, that, and the other. So, and writing magazines or magazines of any kind need content. So they're always looking for new authors to provide fresh content. So if you're knowledgeable about a particular thing, it could be cooking. My dog's just moving. Oh, it's just slumped down by my feet. Cooking, gardening, house decor, etc., etc. Really, any topic. If you've got something you can say about it, then do have a go. And the general rule of thumb is that you read 2 or 3 of their issues of magazines to get a feel for the magazine before you submit anything to them. It used to be that you got paid. So my last question was, do you get paid on acceptance or publication? It used to be that you get paid in most places on acceptance. But these days it tends to be on publication, which is a little bit unfair because they could have something for a year and then publish it, by which time you've given up and you've sent it somewhere else. So if they're happy with second, so this British first serial rights, so whoever gets it first will pay for first rights. So if you've had something published and you're sending it somewhere else, let them know that it's been published somewhere else. Even if it's a year or 2 or more than that ago, there does tend to be sort of a year grace, so that if they publish it, they don't want you to send it anywhere else within a year or 2. But that should be in the contract you receive or the letter you receive. So that was do you write for magazines? If so, what genre? We talked about countries. How did you start? So if you fancy coming on this topic, I'll pop it. I think we're now running into September for different topics, and any other. I will occasionally talk about topic, but if we talked about it before, then I may change it to tell us about your books and pick some of the. You can see them there. Pick some of the self-published books that I found from charity shops and book swap libraries, book libraries. I look after a lot of the local book libraries, which is how Self-Pub Fest came about, really, because I knew we had a really good reading community here in Aylesbury. So we have a festival here twice a year. So if you are able to get to Aylesbury, then keep the 4th of October free, because we've got 20 authors. Yes, 5 panels of 4 authors, 20 authors talking about various aspects of publishing. So that's great. And then in April, be the 25th of April next year, 2027, we'll be talking again about writing. We did genres earlier on this year, publishing in October. So back to the writing itself in April, and online every other month, every second month from September, every second Sunday online. So the other part of this was writing magazines. So I subscribe, I used to write a column, I used to be the competition columnist for Writers Forum, and sadly that folded. And the main one is, there are 2 here in the UK. There used to be loads of them. I can't think of the other ones, but there used to be New Author was one of them, which was fantastic because it really aimed at authors starting, but sadly that went by the wayside. There was another one, I think it was called Tripod. There have been several magazines in the UK which have sadly folded in my time, last 20 years. And the main one is Writing magazine, which had or has writers' news. So it's news from that writers send in, subscribers send in and say they've got a new book out or they've won a prize or etc. etc. So that's part of Writing magazine. There's also Mslexia, Mslexia, and that's aimed at women, Ms. So that's aimed at female writers, although I do know that from the letters they get that there are men who read it too. Really, what's the difference? But there we go. So that's that. So do you buy writing related magazines? So yes, I get the Writing magazine and Mslexia. And if so, paper or online, so you can, I like the paper version. I like going through them and then I give them to my writing group thereafter. Are they instructional, informative? For instance, Writing magazine, Mslexia, or purely for reading? So I do often, because I'd like to write for women's magazines, although the market has shrunk, but People's Friend, etc., etc. I mentioned a few earlier on. So do leave a comment, that'd be great. Subscribe, that would be fantastic. And do tell your writing friends, reading friends about Morgan Bailey UK is the YouTube. but you might be watching this on the Self Pub Fest website, which is self-pub-fest.co.uk. Just Google Self Pub Fest, selfpubfest.co.uk, and .com point to it anyway. So there we go. So there's a little insight into magazines. So I will be running this again with guests, or at least one guest. That'd be nice. I have bought some social media scheduling software so I can actually advertise without spending too much time, which is something I do struggle with. And I have a deadline of tomorrow. I'm an editor, so I have a book that's due back tomorrow. So I shall crack on with that. So thank you very much for watching this. Do share it, do tell people. Trying to raise money. They are free to watch, but I'm trying to raise money for 3 local charities, and we're up to £431, I think, so far. So far this year. It's only started this year. And we have October, the Aylesbury Festival to look forward to, so that always raises a bit more money. So thank you very much, and tune in next Monday lunchtime, and I should know what I'm doing. I'm going to go to the calendar. I should know what I'm talking about on Monday is forms of poetry. So hopefully I'll have a poet or two with me then. And otherwise it's then next Tuesday, which will be Susanna Hockham talking about her books and reading from her new book. Reading from it. How exciting. Lovely lady. So yes, please like, comment, subscribe. It means a lot. Thank you.